So I would take a motion to go into open session.
I'll make that motion.
I would second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. We're in open session. Thank you to the city manager for the time that you gave us to talk about your evaluation. And with that, I think we're on to council comments. And just making sure I'm not missing anything else. So, Ms. Powell.
Thank you all. I deeply appreciate our finally getting to your review. I know it was difficult.
Only 3 or 4 months late.
I know, but I think it was productive and, like I said, when, people are bad mouthing you, I just say, he does a great job. You just have to look around and people actually do ask me, what has he accomplished? And I tell them, oh, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Rose, you got some names for me?
Yeah. I'll make
I think was it me and you talked the other day about what I'd really like to get for Christmas and not from any of you is a cricket bat.
Yeah.
Hang that cricket bat in my office.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm glad we have this and we're done chilling for another year.
Mr. Frazier?
No.
Or Mr. Gross? Why did I call you Mr. Frazier? Mr. Gross, we're on fire chief.
I have been called worse things.
On fire chief. I was wanting to call you fire chief and then, yeah, like.
Good discussions, some good thoughts. Glad that some things are getting resolved. And I guess the big thing, I'd like to thank all the veterans and tomorrow being Veterans Day, especially those who have been involved in combat and preservation of our rights to vote, which some people chose to, some people chose not to, like 50% of our population chose not to vote. I think it's a shame, especially when you see what's going on around the world. And again, I'd like to thank all of the veterans, especially those who have given much, much more than I did as being a veteran. They gave their blood, their lives, and things of that nature. So that's it.
Ms. Atchison?
Yeah, I would like to say I was here to vote and I saw a lot of positive things. The fact that there was a slight line, that was a good thing. Also, I noticed our election, our city clerk, I noticed her with at least 4 different individuals, citizens, helping them. One lady, she was having to explain why her ballot they wouldn't take her ballot, and she redid it. And there were some questions about I saw one citizen didn't have her license wasn't up to date in what they did in that case, in that situation. But I saw Rebecca talk to so many citizens and the way that she approached them and talked to them with a cool, calm, collected voice and interest in everybody that she helped, and just made sure everything was going okay. I just liked in all the election workers, how nice they were with questions and I don't know why, but for some reason I can never get my ballot to go the first time. So I always joke with them. I'm like, well, it won't happen the first time, but hopefully I can figure it out the second time. And it always goes. But no, it was great. It was great around here. And everybody was in a great mood and I loved it. So thanks for turning out and voting. Once again, your vote counts no matter what. That's all I have to say.
Ms. Grace?
We did touch on a lot of things tonight. Some good news and a lot of good information that we learned from each other. And I just think we have a great city manager. And I just hope that, he gets the help he needs. We all believe he really needs it. And he said 3 or 4 months, we haven't done this, and I think maybe we need to be a little bit better on that too, because he lets things slide but we, as a council, we need to really, it's at this time, we need to plan this, it needs to stick at that point, and I just think that's important, but thank you, Rebecca, for all the hard work and all the election workers, and for all of you guys.
You signed up for 4 more years of it?
No, I just,
That 1 year you talked me into is dragged down the one.
It has.
just one,
I think it's
just 1
probably,
year, just 1 year.
I
is all
probably
she
owe you
said.
more wine.
Oh, geez. Wine.
We need like wine.
Can we do
fountains.
that? Can we run a line from somewhere so I can
Yes.
have wine at my?
So, one of the things we've talked about, because this isn't an ongoing thing, about an assistant.
Yeah.
Is where to put them. We're kind of full up with City Hall. As much as I'd like to have a new City Hall, I don't know if we have the money for it. So eventually the sheriff's department's gonna vacate because they're gonna move out to their new place. And so we talked about maybe code enforcement and the assistant and where the sheriff is now. But there is a storage area in the front there. And what I told staff today was I'd like to put a door there, put a beanbag chair, maybe some blacklight posters, and that'll be a kind of our rest and relaxation room.
Yeah.
Kumbaya room.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Now I'll have one of those chilled wine dispensing units.
Oh,
Oh, there you
okay.
go.
You might see me a lot more than you want to.
Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
Council comments?
Well, I'd like to thank our city manager for sticking with us for another year. There's a lot of opinions that sit up at this desk and a lot of strong personalities, and you're not the easiest 7 to wrangle. But God bless him, he keeps trying. So thank you for staying with us. I'm still thankful that you were able to come work for the city of Cedar Springs. And I look forward to at least 1 more year.
Is this a year like your year?
12 months from now, there's an election that I haven't decided things about, so we'll see.
She's still gotta decide if she's signing up again.
Yeah.
So the spooktacular was amazing. I really love that we can make that safe for our city, and I appreciate one of the things the manager and I talked about, 5, 6 years ago, was how much we loved Halloween and how we really wanted to make it an event for the community, and particularly for safety, while also being celebratory and family oriented. And I feel like that's really coming together. I mean, I heard about it from people in other communities, particularly for trick or treating for older people who are disabled, or for kids who are disabled who might struggle to have to walk a long ways, or might feel funny because they're older. And this was a really good, safe place for that. And of course, disability advocacy, always one of my things. And I appreciate the manager having helped facilitate that and make that happen. I really appreciate all of the water work we have done, from underground pipes. And I know a piece of this is Bill, but then, we do the road with the water, with the sidewalk, with the bridge, and so much of that has come together. And I just heard wonderful things about you from the folks at MDOT and from the folks at Fishback, as I was standing out on the bridge telling people not to drive across wet paint and explaining why this is why we cannot have nice things, about how wonderful you are. And I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate just how hard you work to make the community feel community. You listen to individual people, that it isn't just this cookie cutter, we're going to make it all You can have any color you want as long as it's beige. Right? Cause we've seen that, right? And I really, really appreciate that as a piece of this. And we see that in things like a spooktacular and in bridges and in chalk decorating and celebrations. And for all of that, I'm exceptionally grateful. I am also really grateful for this election. And I'm not going to go through all of the stuff that Lisa said, but all of the stuff that Lisa said about our amazing clerk and our elections. And, you know, the policy debate teacher, the government teacher, the social studies teacher is so happy y'all are voting. And that our clerk makes it so you can vote. And that's just wonderful. And with that, we're adjourned.